Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Sorry.
What a way to start a show, guys. Cazz is gone. Okay, how are you? She's just been booted. Right, guys, I'll tell you what I want to start with. We've got we're in a bit of a crazy time, guys, all right? And we all know it. And I come up the ranch here the other day, guys, and I found this Good News Bible sitting on the table. And I thought, Lord, where would you open that for me? So I picked it up and I opened it up, guys. And I want to let you know what we've got here. Remember, or do you know about Daniel and his three friends? Okay, they were Shadrach, Meshach, okay, and Abednego. Abednego. I have trouble saying that one, guys. Now, these three guys were put into a furnace. Okay, that's what happened. Why were they put into a furnace? Because they wouldn't bow down to any gold idols. They wouldn't do what King Nebuchadnezzar wanted them to do, guys. All right, so very funny that God opened up the Bible on this. So I'm going to read a bit of this, guys, as my intro, all right, because I believe that this is exactly where we are. All right, so we know that these guys have said no. We're not bowing down and we're not doing anything you ask. We stand with the Lord Jesus. So then let's go to, so this is Daniel 3, guys, all right? It starts around 8, all right, where Daniel's three friends are accused of disobedience, all right? Just like us, guys, all right? You know, we're told what to do, how to do it. We disagree, we're in trouble, all right? They just take us out. So then Nebuchadnezzar, all right, we all know who he is. He lost his temper and his face turned red with anger as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So he ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. Is it hot out there, guys, at the moment? I'm just asking. So, and he commanded the strongest men in his army to tie the 3 men up, throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up and fully dressed, shirts, robes, caps, blazing furnace. Now, because the king had given strict orders for the flames burnt up to be, I got trouble reading too, guys. I haven't any rest today. Now, because the king had given strict orders for the furnace to be made extremely hot, the flames burnt up the guards who took the men to the furnace. So the guards didn't make it. The boys got dropped in. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still tied up, fell into the heart of the blazing fire. Suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet in amazement. He asked his officials, "Didn't we tie these 3 men up and throw them into the blazing furnace?" They answered, "Yes, we did, Your Majesty." "Then why do I see 4 men walking around in the fire?" he asked. "They are not tied up and they show no sign of being hurt. And the 4th one looks like an angel." So King Nebuchadnezzar went up to the door of the blazing furnace and called out, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the supreme God, come out. And they came.
All right, I'm just going to jump in here because Dave seems to have gone and we're not really sure where he is. He seems to be frozen there. So I'll just get on with it straight away until I'll just bump Dave out for the moment. Yeah, welcome everybody. We've got Phil in tonight. He's going to do co-hosting tonight. And as you can see, I've already been bumped already. And when they do that, they actually wipe all of my studio. So just while I'm just going to reach out back, I'm just going to bring this in here, Beck. We've got this, Beck. It says Rowan Atkinson. He says online cancel culture is equivalent, is the digital equivalent to the medieval mob roaming the streets looking for someone to burn.
Phil. Beck, you said.
Oh, did I? Sorry, somebody put up thanks, Beck, on there. So I've got Beck's announcements here to do as well at the moment. So
Yeah.
What have you got?
It was interesting what
to...
Dave was reading, though. Dave was reading about King Nebuchadnezzar. But anyway, yeah. So what did Rowan Atkinson put up there? Sorry, he put out there that their equivalent of going around looking for. Let me read
it's equivalent to a medieval mob roaming the streets looking for someone to burn.
Oh yeah, exactly right. And they actually had cases over there where there was a riot mob walking down the street, tapping their machetes on the riot shields of the riot police, laughing at them because they knew they wouldn't actually be prosecuted, and yet they've been running around prosecuting people for this with this digital thing. Interesting fact, Russia, right? 300 people were arrested in Russia for digital things on online, comments online. How many do you reckon in the UK were arrested so far this year?
I think I know this answer. Is it about 4,000?
Yeah, it's like 4,300 been arrested over there already. And it's like what the? And we're bringing the laws in over here. They've already started, talking about them, trying to stop them and trying to stop posts, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, there is supposedly an online list of sites that the government have taken down in Australia, but twice that ASIO, is it? No, it's not ASIO. It's the one that's actually trying to get rid of it at the moment. They've been taken to court twice over lying to the public. The first time there was 2,500 websites that they didn't put on the list that they'd taken down, and the second time was over 10,000 websites that they'd taken down and not put on the list. So how many have they actually got down that they're not putting on the list?
No, I know. It's incredible, isn't it? Like, they're just overreaching so far. And the thing is, too, they're actually trying to introduce this in the United States as well. If you look at this, if you look at what's going on over there with the, sorry, it's just going to take me a bit bigger here because they wiped all my, they wiped my studio. But you've actually got the Australian style. They're trying to bring an Australian style. Where is it? Australian style body in as well to stop the. Well, everybody's noticed. I don't know if everybody's noticed, but just lately, all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of websites YouTube and Facebook. Jails and YouTube things banned and all that, and it's just happened to line up when the new election started. Isn't that interesting? They sort of backed off there for a while and people were getting away with putting a whole lot of stuff up, and then bam, they're back again. And it was just right on stage with the US election. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's the same with the monkeypox thing, like, oh no, we'll have to have mail-in ballots again. This is the bill. It's 686. This lady's done a report.
Let's talk about it. This is the website where you can access it. It's called the Restrict Bill. You can see it's been introduced. You can scroll down and go to text and read the bill. There are 3 things in this bill that every American needs to know about. Number 1, this bill gives the federal government access to your computer and your network through PlayStation, Ring doorbell, Facebook, anything that has over 1 million followers on its platform. The federal government can access that platform and look at your instant messages and all of your correspondence. Second, it makes it illegal to have a VPN to the tune of $250,000 fine and a 20-year prison sentence. And third, and the scariest, this gives the President of the United States the power to appoint a communications secretary, and that secretary then goes and gathers a committee, not voted on by us. And
now we know the rest of it because we're living through e-safety Karen at the moment.
And we've got exactly that. We've got a body of people not voted in by us, and they have basically the powers that they can go in and they can actually pretend to be you online for 3 days without a warrant. They can change your post. They can make up posts for you, and then they can actually, without a warrant, and then they could have to go for a warrant after that. So if they've arrested you for making some stuff, comments or whatever, who says it's not them? Because they could have been on there for 3 days pretending to be you.
Yeah, no, I know. Look, we've had fake text messages and fake phone calls and things like that. I mean, but who do you go and, like, do you front up down at the police station and say, somebody's impersonating my voice and they've made a phone call from my number? I mean, you sound crazy. Somebody's impersonating my my messaging service, and they've sent this text message from my text number, and clearly, like, unless you take the phone down there and say, look, clearly I didn't, clearly it hasn't been made.
And look, they won't believe you. They know it's true. They know it's possible. They'll be copping the same shit, most of those cops, because they're underlings with no power at all, and they know it's possible. I mean, who hasn't received, some sort of text trying to sell you something, or some sort of phone call trying to sell you something? The other day, I got a phone call asking me, "Oh yeah, you applied for this job," and I went, "No, I didn't." And then they're asking me all these questions, and it was obvious it was a phishing phone call. But it came from a known number, but it wasn't the person that was originally attached to that number, interestingly enough.
Oh, that is interesting. All right, so I thought what we'd do is we might just cover a bit of what's going on. Now, this is, I think it's, is it Aisha? She confronted Michael Usher at the Golden Globe.
That's right! Dear members, Channel 7 Spotlight, you don't deserve the silver logie. You do not deserve the logie. This is for all the unethical journalism and propaganda the mainstream media has engaged in, including Michael Usher. Can you see that everybody else is recording?
Did you ask for permission to
No, did everybody else ask permission to record? No. No, that's discrimination. That's discrimination, and you know it, because everybody else is allowed to film, and you have signaled us out because we have called out unethical journalism, and Channel 7 has been under the pump with ABC News for their internal corruptions and for their poor treatment of their female employees, to the point they had to commit, they were suicidal. Their mental health has been destroyed as a result. The people had a right to know certain things that were edited out from the program, which Michael Usher had a say in. That's what we called out. That's all. So,
you go, girl. Well done.
She did, and she kept filming the whole time. It went really good, but she was wrong. She said he didn't deserve the award. He did. He was the best actor of the lot. He did the best job of acting of all of them. He's like, it's the best show ever. There's no truth in it. It was the best acting job ever. So he definitely deserved a reward. Maybe not the journalism one, but he definitely deserved some little Loki.
All right, okay. So overnight, Phil, the Babbitt has basically talked about the babies that dying, and they've that aborted babies that have survived and been left to die, and it's really quite horrendous. And he's had this to say.
In this country, every single week, at least one baby is born alive after a failed abortion. In some states and territories, there is no legal requirement for that living human being to receive any medical care. The baby is often placed in a metal tray and left to die slowly. I cannot, President, for the life of me, understand how we can bang on every single day in this place about the importance of human rights while allowing the most vulnerable human beings to be treated like garbage. Now, whatever one's view is on the merits or otherwise of abortion, once there has been a birth, medical practitioners are dealing with a living human being, a person.
You watch your tongue.
All right, so these are the people that voted for it. There's they voted no for the protection of the babies, and there's quite a long list of them. Mostly they are from the Labor Party, but there's some from the Liberal Party, the Member for Hume. There's a few independents and Greens. Of course, Penny
Is it a
Wong
list of the
voted
people
for
that
it.
were away? Because also you got to have a look at the people that choose not to go on that day, because that's how they get the bills through. The ones that don't want to stand against them just don't turn up because they don't want to be seen to be standing against it, so they just don't turn up. Now, did you notice the senator in the background sticking a tongue out? So for your viewers, I'm going to get pretty graphic. So if you don't want to hear this is how these babies end up perishing. So what happens is a baby, mum decides she wants to have an abortion. She tries for an abortion, but it doesn't work, and the baby's born alive. Now, what they do is they don't tie the cord. They cut the cord, but they don't tie the cord, and they put the baby in a dish, and it bleeds out. They live for up to 1.6 hours. Right? Now, this has happened 397 times this year already. We've had tiny babies bleeding out for over an hour because they can't kill them because it's murder. So they just don't medically help them at all. These are doctors that are doing this and nurses that are doing it. And one nurse actually, the baby that lived a fair bit longer than that, nurse tried to give some medical assistance. She was told by the head nurse, "Don't you dare. You cannot interfere with this." So basically, these babies are born alive and left to bleed to death in a petri dish for an hour and a half.
It's just so horrendous, isn't it, Phil? Like it's just unfathomable. Like the spiritual law that is, if we don't do something about that, the spiritual law, there's a spiritual law. What you allow will be given to you. If you want forgiveness, you forgive. If you want money to come to you, you give money. It's just a spiritual law. If you allow an innocent like this, where have we come to? Because all throughout history.
Yeah, I was up on the parliamentary lawn. Yeah, I was up on the parliamentary lawn the other day protesting with the people up there about it. It's disgusting. They had a huge cross laid out on the ground made up of booties from little babies. There's 397 babies, booties, made this massive cross that stood 30 foot long and 20 feet wide. All lives that have been led to bleed out. I mean, surely if we put this on mainstream media, that's what the sort of thing mainstream media should play. It would never happen again in this country.
That's right.
Normal people would be disgusted with this. But because they hide it.
Would be disgusted. That's right. They do. They hide it. They hide it, and and then what they do is they send out their troll armies to call anyone who stands up against it cookers. Like it's just so disgusting. These people are so disgusting. I can't even fathom it.
You've seen that senator in the background poking a tongue out at him, going, whatever. What are you talking about? What sort of woman does that? What sort of person? What sort of human? What sort of even an animal? I've seen video footage of dogs saving babies and stuff like that. We can't even save our own.
No, I know.
And we can't save our own species.
Oh, yeah. Look, there's
Makes me angry.
there's a lot. There's a lot that's going wrong in this world at the moment. But now, one of the things is the terrible situation that it's developing over in the UK with the stabbings.
that was missed by mainstream media. Early hours of Sunday morning, 3 guys stabbed, 17-year-olds, 2 17-year-olds and an 18-year-old stabbed by a 17-year-old in Peterborough. The 17-year-old who did the stabbing has been arrested and has been held on suspected grievous bodily harm. Grievous bodily harm. If you go around stabbing 3 people, surely that's attempted murder. But again, this isn't in mainstream media. The government, in conjunction with mainstream media, are trying to squash this stuff. Ignore it. Brush it under the carpet. Instead, their rhetoric is all about far right and how well they've done banging up people who've put posts on Facebook. Not condoning those posts, but people are angry. There was one lady, 50-something years old, who posted about mosques. Not a great thing to say on Facebook. And I'm not supporting what this woman did for one moment. But she got 15 months in prison. The prisons are overflowing. The government have got this thing now called Operation Early Dawn or something like that, where they're letting out so many prisoners while they should still be serving their sentences. Let's just see what happens when one of these prisoners commits a violent crime when he should have been still in prison. When Starmer took power, I gave until Christmas.
All right, we'll just leave it there. But here's the thing is that, look, this is happening everywhere. We can see, just with the mass immigration, and they're not actually meant to behave themselves. This is what people don't understand. They're meant to behave badly, guys. It is basically meant to cause problems. That's just exactly what it's like. Problems by design.
It gives the government someone to point fingers at, and then it creates a distraction for everybody else. And one thing I did see one of our parliamentarians say, which was actually a good thing, was that they weren't letting anybody immigrate from a war-torn areas, because if 1% of them were not okay, that'd be a problem. But that they just need to be a little bit more hypocritical, a little bit more critical about it, no matter where they come from, not just war-torn areas. There was, my ex-partner, I think it cost her nearly 50 grand to get to this country from the UK as an ICU nurse, and they invited her to be here. And yet some of these immigrants now, they turn up here, they get a free house, they get money, they get a car, or they get taxi fare. Or if they don't get a free house, they get put up in, I can show you several fairly good hotels in Brisbane where they get put up, and they get Uber tickets, free Uber, basically, more money than what our retired, not our pensioners get.
And I've been told directly from somebody who's actually renting to immigrants, renting a house, that it's actually the Salvation Army just came in and told them, said, oh, look, we're going to pay for all of their rent. Doesn't matter what it is. And because he decided to put it up, I think he put it up to $680 a week or something like that, something ridiculous. And they said, no matter, we'll pay it. So, they're just basically paying the rent. So these NGOs that get a lot of their grants from the governments are basically covering it all, according to him. Whether, I did ask him for receipts and haven't received them yet, though. Look, and you've got this situation as well, Phil, with the Gazans. So Gazans visas have been approved by Albanese government without the manual security checks, leaving the intelligence agencies scrambling. So, clearly there's an issue here.
That's a war-torn area.
That is a war-torn area. That is a war-torn area.
1% of them gets in who are, not in alignment with the way most Australians think, then it creates an issue for the rest of Australia, basically,
Oh, that's right. Look, you've also got this situation where Anthony Blinken is in the Middle East, and he was to find a diplomatic agreement. He called 56 Muslim countries, foreign ministers, one by one, and asked them to commit to taking Palestinian refugees. The results of his diplomacy are as follows. 45 countries politely said no. 11 countries politely said no effing way. So, and yet we're taking 3,000 of them. Stop bombing the country. I agree with that. Stop bombing the shit out of these people. But they have never, Palestinians are well known. The reason why no one takes them in the surrounding countries is because they, in their own words of the Saudi Arabia, they said, no, we can't take them because we don't want to destabilize our country. Why? Because everywhere they go, they destabilize countries. So,
These are refugees who are choosing to leave their country because it's in a bad way at the moment. They're not leaving their country because they want to immigrate to a place that's different to what they have. So they don't come here with the idea of being assimilating to Australia. They come here and want to live the way they did at home, which doesn't always line up with the way Australians live. Most immigrants that come here will change to a certain degree so that they, fit into Australian society a little bit. We Australians are renowned for actually being very, very. I was going to say tolerant, but we're not tolerant. We're very easygoing as far as if people want to live a certain way, that's quite okay as long as it's not, causing problems ethically and morally in this country. But a lot of these people don't necessarily want to change at all because they're only leaving because their country's getting destroyed. And we know why their country's getting destroyed. They want to put another Suez Canal through it, basically.
That's right. All right. So, Phil, what we've got here, though, is that we've got Sweden. So slowly I've seen that Sweden, and I believe it's Norway as well, they are deciding to close their doors because they've got such big problems over there at the moment. So it is a situation that is, basically, ongoing, really. But it's just a case of, it's just a case of, everything's just crazy at the moment, but it's meant to be.
They're following in line with one other country over there who right from the start said no, and they've had zero problems at all. Now, sorry?
Poland.
Yeah, Poland. That's it, Poland. Yeah. Now I know some people over that live over there in some of the more pleasant places, and they're having massive trouble with rape and sexual assault and all this, and just of women in general, just not being able to go out and by themselves at all because in the country that a lot of these people come from, the culture is a bit different around women, and they're dressing a certain way is inviting in their country is inviting to be not looked upon as pleasantly.
It's not just the women who are suffering. There's also the gay community as well. So this is a refugee from Iraq.
It's illegal in the country they come from. It's illegal to be gay. It's actually a death sentence.
He murdered 2 gay men in Ireland, including one who was decapitated. A third man was stabbed in the face and lost his eyes, but survived. So, and of course the LGBT community can basically, the left will basically look at us and say, well, we're against the gay community. Actually, no, we're not. We're just against, the indoctrination of children. But also, these men, they're adults. They're allowed to make their own choices, and so
at home in their own private area, we don't care what they do.
Exactly. No one cares. That's the whole point.
No.
Yeah.
And no one deserves to be persecuted for the way they think and act outside of the views of children and that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
That's right. Look, here we go. We've got this interesting situation. I believe you know how to speak to it best with the it's the largest solar precinct in the world. So billionaires gets the green light to cover Australian outback in solar panels. Very interesting. So now a lot of this, it's a $30 billion project and it's going to be exported to Singapore. So did you want to actually talk about that, Phil? Do you know much about that?
Okay. Yeah, I do know a little bit about. I don't know about that particular one, but I know a fair bit about solar. Yes, we have a lot of irradiance in this country. We have like massive amounts of irradiance because, well, we used to have very clear skies. Obviously, the chemtrails don't start till further out. So, further in to the coast than that. But the problem with Australia and solar is the heat. Now, solar panels they lose efficiency massively as they get hotter. People may see every now and again really dark solar panels. They're called amorphous panels. They handle the heat better, but they don't have as good an output. Interestingly enough, I think it's Italy or France has just passed a bill to say that you can't put any solar panels on farmland. I don't know what that part of the desert they're going to do out there. trouble with solar is it's great. It's going great guns all day. Come nighttime, there's actually nothing, zero. So you need massive amounts of battery or some sort of battery setup. You know, they use what they call hydro battery, which is where they pump water during the day with electricity up to a dam, and then at night they run it down through a generator to create electricity at night. Again, they need batteries. So you're not going to put a hydro battery pumping station out in the middle of the desert. It's not going to work for you. Transmission lines, you know, your voltage is going to have to, most of these massive transmission lines are, you know, way up in the hundreds of thousands of volts to transfer enough power by the time it gets to where it's going without losses. So out in the desert, and if they're going to transport it to Singapore, that means an undersea, some sort of undersea line. Look, at the moment, it's how crazy it is. In Brisbane and I think in Sydney at the moment, they're charging people now for having solar on their roof and back to the grid. So if they're charging people locally for having solar, why the hell are we putting more solar panels out in the middle of the desert? And I know someone who was interested in actually creating a similar sort of solar setup with batteries, a full battery setup, and he looked into it. And to become an energy supplier, it takes 3 years to become an energy supplier. How is this guy getting around all that? Well, he's probably selling it overseas, like he says, so he's not selling it into Australia, the Australian grid. To get approval to cover our desert and solar panels, all the wildlife that live under those solar panels, the heat coming off those solar panels will kill everything that lives on the ground or in the ground. The birds flying over top of it, the massive amounts of reflection. Go and find yourself a solar farm. Just go around it till you find the right angle and have a look at the reflection that comes off it. They actually use solar reflection to boil water to create steam to create electricity. So, you know, it's just madness.
It is madness, isn't it? Look, we're at 1:30, so I'm going to bring on Beck's flyers for the announcements of upcoming events. So let's have a look at that.
Events. If you are near one of these locations, we encourage you to get down there and show your support. First up, we have Mondays at Maggie's from 11 a.m. Macquarie Street, Sydney, New South Wales, to instruct your governor. On 23rd of August 2024, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m, All Seasons Resort Hotel, McIver Highway, Strathdale, Victoria, Reset Victoria Rally. We matter. Come to Bendigo, stand together to say we matter. People power together to show the government that we matter, our communities matter, our families matter, our industries matter, our futures matter, our environment matters, our lives matter, our concerns matter, and our voice matters. Today was Pastor Paul's Day in Court at Newcastle, but we've also got August 26th with Patrick O'Day. That's in Brisbane District Court. At 12 p.m, Saturday 24th of August, Justice for the People Public Information Rally in Melbourne, 20 Spring Street, East Melbourne, Old Treasury Building. On Friday, 30th of August at 12 p.m. at the office of Jacinta Allen, the Victorian Premier, there is another Leave Our Kids Alone community rally. At 12 p.m. Saturday, 31st of August, Worldwide Rally for Freedom in Perth, speakers to be announced soon. An 8:32 South Australian muster, 13th to the 15th of September, where Stony Creek Bush Camp Caravan Park. It looks like they've got an absolutely fun-filled couple of days, so get involved if you can. Last but not least, there's also been a daily prayer space being held every day at 3 p.m. on Twitter by Melissa. The link is in that flyer. Thanks, guys.
All right, and thanks, Beck, for doing that. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's going on at the moment. Now, one of the things that I did want to get you to comment on was the.
Can I just add one more?
Yes.
Governor General's every day, 10 o'clock for 925 days.
When's the 1000th day, Phil? We should do something for that.
It'll be coming up soon, obviously. 925 days continuously. Every single day.
That's incredible. Now this is a bit interesting, this one, because this is Michael Yeadon, and he's talking about something that we all flocked to, and that was ivermectin.
I need to mention, I've only learned in the last 3 weeks, and so you probably won't have heard it, but it all fits when I say it. You know that there was a Team Hero, the alternative media people, not me, people who are 100 times more famous around the world. I won't mention them at this particular point, but you all know who I'm thinking, so many doctors who are Americans.
Yes.
And as soon as the pandemic arrived, they came up with early treatment for COVID-19, didn't they? And they pushed and pushed and pushed. At first I thought there was a virus, and so it was great that they were coming up with treatments. Then later when I realized there wasn't, so I thought, why are they pushing this stuff? I thought, they're pushing harmless placebos on the worried well, and they're providing a belief structure that really is a pandemic. I thought, why would these clever people be going out of their way to sell you this stuff? And it's like, unfortunately, it's much worse than that. One of the center stage drugs that they want you to take, ivermectin, is one of the most violent fertility toxins I've ever come across. And I didn't know this because, like you probably didn't think to do the deep research, and I didn't. So someone contacted me a few weeks ago with a bloody great dossier of papers that go back from its discovery, and there's unquestionably around the doses you're being suggested to take in rats and rabbits, and in some limited studies in humans, it reduces the ability to conceive and to grow.
Now that's very interesting because it was like a wall of ivermectin that there was a couple of things that were suggested, and it was a wall of ivermectin that was suggested, that was basically marketed on us. Now, one of the things that I did is I actually had a look into that, and because I know that we got told, actually Dave got told that the ivermectin afterwards, after the pandemic, is going to be laced with something. And I thought, oh, that's it. But I had a look because I know it's used for horses a lot. And one of the things that it says is do not give to a horse that's pregnant. Oh, and I just lost Phil. So it looks like I'm here by myself, unless Mel wants to jump in. So, all right. Well, look, that's it. It is really interesting what's going on. So it's still under investigation. I haven't researched it fully, but I just thought I'd just add that because it is interesting. And because they're so sneaky, it doesn't really surprise me. One of the things that I really wanted to bring in as well, the other thing was was this ULEZ. So now, I read years ago in a study that if you put on a fluoro vest, you can walk anywhere and no one will even pay any attention to you because everyone thinks that you're just basically fixing something. Well, it looks like the ULEZ people have really put this to work. It's amazing how incredibly creative people can be when they're really pushed to the limit. Yeah, and yes, Beck, I'm trying to bring Dave back in, but now Dave's gone, Phil's gone, and now Mel's gone blank as well. So, sorry, I do apologise in advance because it seems like it's just me, and I'm really sure that that's not a good thing. One of the other things that I wanted to look at as well, which I thought was really important, is the truth. Now, we played this last night about what was going on with the DNC. Somebody has given an alternative view, though, and it's important that we understand both sides.
All right. So, went over by the United Center. The group that's over there is not big. It's the same group, I think, that it was yesterday, marching across the street over here. Same flag, same everything. I seen on the news, and right before I got there, they said people were ripping down fences and all kinds of stuff going on. There were 4 guys ripped down one panel, and they all got arrested. And then the police pushed everyone back out of the park. So the videos I'm seeing of the close-ups of the front of the line aren't telling the real story. And I'm not right or left. I'm in the middle. So I could care less who's who. But we should at least know the truth, right? And then I just seen a video, made me...
All right. So yeah, it's really important that we know the truth. So when we do play things and we get it wrong, we try to actually correct it. So if we get anything wrong, then yeah, sure, please be sure. And you guys are great like that. You always basically correct us. So yeah, I never have to worry about putting out anything too much because you guys jump on me when we get it wrong, and we thank you for that. So yeah, the video that we played, that had been specifically shot from that angle to make it look like the crowd was violent and they were basically trying to break in. However, in saying that, what's important to recognise is the people who want the open borders are the same people who have got two outer rims, and they're requiring ID for people to go in to their function. These same people don't want people to think that it's racist if people are asked for voter ID. So one of the most secure things, or one of the most important things that you can have apart from free speech, is also your ability to vote. It's basically sacred because it's your right to say who will represent you and what policies that they will have. Now, in saying that, however, there is something that's very interesting. This is not my work. This is put out by SGNon. And he's noticed that there's a queue. So in the circle there, you can actually see a queue circling the podium there. Very interesting. Why would the DNC have that? Very fascinating. All right, so it looks like I'm still on my own here. I have no Phil, I have no Mel, I have no anybody. So anybody out there wants to jump in and do a wrap up, that's great because I don't have one. But it's saying that I do thank you all. Guys, we've been on a really awesome journey. Dave and I have been at this for 3 years now. Dave was at this for 2 years before I came into the picture. And it's been an honor to be able to be here with you guys. And I really want to thank you all because it's been a great journey. My life was so boring before Dave came along, and I can't even tell you like how boring it was. And but I didn't realize it was boring, and Dave kind of hits you like a freight train when he comes through. It's just everything completely changes. And it was just like it took us some bit to get used to. But in saying that, my life was very boring, and I don't know now looking back how I ever put up with it. So anyway, I thank you for that, and I thank you guys for all of the work that you put in here and everything that you guys do as far as taking this country back. And we are going to win this. And just thought I'd bring in a little something, closing out the show now. And what I thought we could do is this is what it's all about, guys. So thank you. Life to me the most. Not where you're from, what you got or what you don't. It's who you are inside of what you do for everyone else, not just you. How you leave a place better than you found it. Walk through hell and not around the little things in life that mean the most. Take her hand, slow it down. Drive her right through your town. Have her on right around 10. Pretty guy, she climbs back in again. Take a walk down memory lane. Skipping rocks and casting cane. Riding right down a low back road. Little things, they make you grow. It's the little things in